I still recall the first time I saw you. I was so nervous to talk.
Hey y'all, Shayla for Making Lemonade from Lemons, and today I just thought that I would finally show you guys what's going on in my garden. So I have been kind of out of commission between the storms and stuff that was coming through that caused migraines and that kind of thing, and the mosquitoes that were eating me alive. I wasn't spending a lot of time out in the garden. So my garden is a little bit neglected. However, I just want to show you guys what's going on, because I've got some really great things that are still happening going on in my garden. And then there are some, of course, some things that are dying out, but that's going to move on so that I can work on my fall garden. So I'm going to turn you around and show you what we were doing. Okay, so right here, this is where we had our purple hull pink eye peas. We do still have a few, if you'll see over here, we do still have a few green ones that I'm going to let go ahead and come to maturity. And then there's some in there, and then there's still a couple of blossoms. So I'm going to let those plants go ahead and stay in there, but I will remove the rest of them. So Nick has been out here helping me, and there he is. He's coming back. If you see this bag right over here, that's where I had my top crop green beans, and I just left them, and they kind of, yeah, they're not, I have to pull them up basically, which I should have probably pulled them up quite a while ago. But then here's all of my pepper plants, and I want to show you something about my pepper plants in a minute. Before I do, I want to show you, I've got some, these are the green arrow peas. They don't get very tall. They only get to be about 2 foot tall, and so I haven't got anything trellised here for them. As you see, they're starting to blossom. I'm also going to do another whole bed of them. So, and I'm probably going to plug in some peas where there's no peas. So, I am going to do that. I have just picked off most of the peppers from these plants that I had. I had quite a few, but as you see, I still have a lot of peppers that are growing on this plant. I also have a lot of peppers on these plants right here. Now, these plants right here are ones that I grew from seed, and they're just now starting to make little peppers. Like this one right here. The one that's back here behind it is one that I purchased as a start from my local Lowe's, and it's loaded with, these are shishito peppers. And then my cayenne are ones that I purchased as well. What happened with, like, if you see, this is this right here, which my peas have kind of invaded into, my purple hull pink eye peas have invaded into my Tabasco peppers. But as you see, I've got tons and tons and tons of peppers and blossoms, right? And what happened was, these started, I started them from seed. They're probably about 3.5 feet tall, actually. I started them from seed. They only got to probably about 3 inches high, maybe 4 inches high, and then they stopped growing for the longest time. And so I went ahead and planted them, but all of a sudden they got this growth spurt. It was like about 4 weeks ago. So back in the beginning of August, that's when they really spurted up and they started flowering and producing. So I don't know why they did that they were stunted for so long and then they decided to shoot up. I don't know, but that's what happened to almost all my pepper plants this year. So, but my Tabasco plants are looking really good, and I'm looking forward to making some more Tabasco sauce this year. And what I've been doing with these, because I've harvested a lot of these already and I'm getting ready to harvest more, is I've been dehydrating these. I've been dehydrating them whole, and then once I take them out of the dehydrator, so I put them in a food processor and a manual food processor, and then I just grind them into powder, and then I just let it sit for a little bit so that the powder settles down before I open it up. Okay, so these are some of my plants, my pepper plants that are still stunted. They're just now starting to take off in September. So these are a jigsaw, and this one is a hatch pepper. This one is also a hatch pepper, and you see how tall it is compared to that one down there. They're in the same soil, same conditions, everything, and they just did not do well. But if you see on the jigsaw, there's a little, like I said, they are starting to produce even though they're little like that. These right here, this one is a Sugar Rush Peach. This one is, I believe, Ahi Pineapple, and I've got some others in there. Those right there are my Dew de España, and they are starting to produce as well now. It just took them forever. These two, like this one is a bell pepper, a green bell pepper. This one is a purple bell pepper that I purchased as starts. I also have another bell pepper plant that is right here, and it looks really pretty, but it hasn't even started to produce though. Then I have these. These are my yellow monster plants, and they're starting to produce. They've got pretty blossoms, but the plants are still a little short. These are Jimmy Nardello's right over there. And that one is a sheep-nosed pimento. And this one right here is a Lesia pepper. And as you see, my Jimmy Nardello is producing. But these were also ones that were stunted and all of a sudden decided to start producing in August. So, then I have these over here. This one, I believe, is, it's an Ajvarsky pepper. This one, I'm not sure, let me see. It is arroz con pollo, but it looks like it's a little bit diseased. I'm not sure. It looks like, anyways, I've got a Buena Mulata that's in there. But anyways, so they're starting to produce as well. These over here are Pueblo peppers. So there's this big debate between Pueblos and hatch peppers. And so the Pueblo peppers are where my husband is from, and the hatch peppers are the ones that they kind of compete with to see which one is the best. So we'll see which ones we think are the best. And these are our jalapenos, and they're looking good still. These will last until frost. I have lots and lots of tomatillos, and they are still the flowers are still being pollinated by mostly the bumblebees, but they are still being pollinated. So I'm really excited because last year we got some earlier than this, but this year was a really slow season for us. So hopefully we will get some soon. We also have some ground cherries here that will be coming off soon. We've had a few, and we like them pretty good. They are sweet. My husband is not a huge fan of them, but they are really good. These are my Romas, and they are just now producing. These are ones that I grew from seed, and they're just now producing. I still have all my zinnias. They actually are laying down, because if you see, that's where they actually start from, down in there, and they're just laying down and making flowers over here, or those over there. So next year I think I'm gonna put them in a different position, but they're still gorgeous. So my tomato plants, as you can tell, are starting to show lots of disease, and I have not been able to come out here and get all that taken care of. However, look at all those tomatoes that we still have on the vines. We have a ton of tomatoes, green tomatoes, still on the vine. So I will tell you guys, these are my better boys. These are my Amish paste down through there. And those are my highest producing ones that I had this year. These are hybrid slicers, and these are, of course, my heirloom paste tomatoes. Those are my highest producers. And if you see, I still have lots and lots of blossoms on the Better Boy, as well as the Amish paste. It looks really similar to an okra plant, but it is not an okra. And if you look here, you'll see these. I can't remember how you pronounce it, but they're calyxes or something. Anyways, this is Roselle. And so I'm really excited that I will be able to harvest some Roselle this year, because Roselle is so good. There's a drink called Agua de Jamaica, and it uses the Roselle, and that's really good, but it's also good in teas. So I'm really excited. And the flowers look very similar to okra flowers. Back in the beginning of spring, we had pumpkins, and we still do have the vines that are still planted here. Some of them I am going to get rid of, but then there are a few that I'm going to leave. But we had pumpkins lined up here, and the leaves and vines were covering this black landscape fabric. Well, we had a storm that came through, and as you see, it just kind of washed everything down this way. So we have a jumbled mess right here. We have some butternut squash that we're going to harvest. We also had, I think it was due to the rain and how humid it is, we had several, see, I still have a watermelon in there, if you can see it. Right there's one watermelon. But we had some issues with the other watermelons, and I'll show you what I'm talking about. So if you see down there on that vine, you see how it started blossom end rot, and it just rotted from that end. We had some slugs and bugs and centipedes and whatever else that ate into our watermelons and our cantaloupes, and so it's really sad that we're not going to get much in the way of watermelons, and our winter squash we're not going to get much of, and that's sad, but it is, those don't comprise the majority of our diet. So even though I'm sad about it, I'll just try again next year. Okay, so we have that pumpkin still, and we still have a vine that is going down through there. Okay, so I'm going to take you inside and show you what else has been going on inside. So it's pretty exciting. One of the things that we have been doing over the last week especially, but over the last few weeks, is I did put out a video that we had quail eggs, and that we were going to be hatching quail eggs. So we had them in an incubator, and we did have some hatch out, and it was so cool to watch them hatch out. Some of them struggled to get out of the eggs, and some of them just popped right out. So let me show you what we have now. So I got this fiberglass screen material, and at first we were just putting, because we have the lamp here, and it's clamped, and it was clamped on holding the material on this end, but we didn't really have anything holding it on to this end. So what we did was we had stuff leaning against it, and we had things that were across it so that nothing could get into it, except that our cat did get into it. And amazingly and shockingly enough, all he did was just sit there and look at them and was like, what in the world are these little things? So my husband cut the holes out of this lid so he could put that on so he can't get in it. We've got some that are loud. It's kind of hard to see through the screen, but I do also have some video footage of them with the screen not on, and I will put that in as well. But they are doing really well. We had 4 out of the 25 that hatched. We have 4 that died. 1 was visibly deformed, and it just died right as soon as it was hatched. And the other 2, we didn't see anything wrong with them. So I'm not sure about those 2, what happened to them. So we have 21 that are left. So we're really excited. We're having a lot of fun with it. And yeah, the boys have really enjoyed it. Okay, so thank you guys for spending time with us today, and we'll see you soon.
Bye.
'Cause you took my scars, bruises and broken.